American aviation giant Boeing has produced numerous commercial and military planes to date, all of which have their own characteristics. One of them is the Boeing 737, which has remained the company's best-selling plane and is still in demand decades after its first flight. If you've taken a commercial flight in the last 50 years, there's a good chance it was on a 737, because it's everywhere. It's believed that somewhere in the world, there's a 737 that becomes airborne every 5 seconds. So, every time you blink, another one leaves the ground. Despite being airline companies' favorite, the 737's had a pretty turbulent journey, adding, more or less, spice to its popularity. The Boeing 737 made its maiden flight in 1967. Its unique design, desired specifications, and mechanical features soon made it the choice of every airline worldwide. The mighty 737 was the epitome of success in aircraft history. But despite carrying its legacy for decades, its future is still being determined. Let's dig into the 737's rarely known journey and closely examine its crazy ride of highs and lows. Since its first launch, the 737 has acquired more interesting nicknames than any other aircraft. People call it Guppy, Baby Boeing, Tin Mouse, Bobby, Rudder Rotor, and whatnot. Whatever you call it, the craft has maintained its unique legacy in the pages of aircraft history. The Washington-based company developed several versions before the current model of the 737. It's incorporated several technical and physical changes, making the 737 unique among its family members and competitors. The end product was proven reliable, safe, and simple in design, which has remained the craft's hallmark since it was first sent to the air. If we talk about numbers, it's one of history's most in-demand aircraft. A survey has produced fantastic findings, indicating that 25% of the world's commercial airliner fleet is comprised of Boeing 737 aircraft. It's a mind-blowing figure, and Boeing is undoubtedly proud of it. Regarding features, the 737 design retained the 707 fuselage width and abreast seating, but with just two underwing Pratt & Whitney JT8D low bypass turbofan engines. Another nice thing about the underwing engine is its feasibility for luggage loading and refueling without specific machinery, which additionally made the plane's sitting posture low to the ground. The experts believe its engine design resultantly omitted the need for extra ladders for maintenance reasons. To add to numerous selling points, the Guppy also had 6 seats per row, which could carry more passengers. So you can now guess that it became a profit-making machine for the company. If we flash back to the 1960s, the 737 was enough to startle airline experts, who would hardly believe such a product could be designed for the skies. The aircraft started its journey and became history's most reliable yet robust craft. Interestingly, some were used to land on gravel strips, and some are still used in northern Canada. Besides this, the European charter companies preferred it, and they used to fly them for hours without any remarkable maintenance issues. Before we go through the brief history of the 737, it's worth mentioning that the company planned its cancellation program 3 years after its launch in 1967. The manufacturer ultimately changed its course and cleverly developed an improved model at the right time. The changes happened, and the following models took the majestic 737 to new heights and replaced several of its peers and counterparts. In its early days, its main competitors were the British Aircraft Corporation BAC-111 and the Douglas DC-9, which had 2 engines near the plane's tail. This design was not a flight favorite, as it made the tail section much narrower and noisier. To cope with this, the 737 was a game changer, revolutionizing the whole plane design. The brainy engineers placed the engines under the wings, and this intelligent idea remarkably reduced vibration and noise. The 737 had multiple variants, with exciting features and technicalities. Starting with the 737-100/200, the airliner was powered by Pratt & Whitney JT8D low-bypass turbofan engines. This generation could accommodate 85 to 130 passengers with a pretty spacious interior. The plane was upgraded in 1980 and evolved into 737 Classic 300, 400, 500 variants. Since then, the 737 has also been produced as business and military models, revolutionizing the aircraft world. The classic generation was big enough to offer 110 to 168 passenger seats and a CFM 56-3 high turbofan engine. Following the classic generation aircraft, the next generation included the NG 600, 700, 800, 900, 900ER models, which extended the 737's length and range. The next generation models were a treat to the eyes, with an upgraded glass cockpit and a larger wing. Following this, the company introduced the most advanced series of aircraft, the latest generation, 737 MAX 7, 8, 9, and 10 variants. The Boeing 737 MAX was announced in 2011, enough to surprise aircraft analysts who were, sooner or later, determining the end of its era. Since its launch, the company has still produced many of these aircraft, which are obviously a hot seller. The accommodating MAX took its maiden flight in 2017, and what happened next? It became the airline company's all-time favorite for many reasons. It was mechanically economical, its pilots did not require additional simulator training, and it was way more spacious, as it could accommodate up to 220 passengers. Moreover, the MAX's enhanced fuel efficiency and low carbon footprint made it an ultimate choice for numerous airlines. The cherry on top is its advanced technology winglets and more efficient engines, which reduce fuel emissions by 20%, and its machinery produces 50% less noise than all previous versions. In terms of design, the airplane has modern sculpted sidewalls for comfortable flying. Thanks to efficient LED lighting and aisle design, passengers can have a unique experience of spaciousness and interior comfort. Regarding orders, you guys might be surprised that as of September 2024, 17,000 Boeing 737s have been ordered, and up to 12,000 have been delivered to their customers. So you can imagine how the company's maintained its reputation among its peers, that every airline wants to have this aircraft in their fleet. So, despite ruling the skies for several decades, the reports suggest that the 737 has experienced a tumultuous ride in its history. According to the reports, the 737 has been involved in 529 aviation accidents and incidents. Half of them were hull losses, which caused nearly 6,000 fatalities. Most of you know about the fatal crashes involving the 737 MAX that occurred on October 29, 2018 and March 10, 2019. In both incidents, 346 died aboard, and following these tragic losses, the whole MAX line came under scrutinous investigations. Both times, the faulty sensors incorrectly activated critical flight controls, resulting in a downward nose pitch during flight. Unfortunately, the pilots didn't know how to react to the aircraft's control inputs, and the aircraft dove to the ground uncommanded. These crashes sent shockwaves throughout the Boeing Corporation. Eventually, several aviation authorities, including the FAA and EASA, started looking for the fundamental factors causing the crashes. A series of investigations connected the dots between the two incidents and determined the cause, which was incorrect MCAS activation. The result was obvious. Boeing grounded the entire MAX fleet. However, it took months for Boeing to get back on track, but with an image full of wounds and bruises. Aircraft analysts believe the problem is with its 1960s foundation, which made it the most successful plane ever, but with the most uncertain future. One aircraft expert even called it a plane designed by a clown and overseen by monkeys. Eventually, by clearing the raised concerns and doubts, the MAX got back on track. After returning to the skies, there was a relative calm until January 2024, when another incident again tarnished its reputation. It was an unusual incident in the aircraft's history, in which the mid-cabin door was blown out during flight. The hole in the fuselage was a horrible experience for the passengers, and almost everyone was preparing themselves for the worst. The plane safely landed in emergency conditions, but another door of criticism and investigations against the 737 was opened. After these incidents, Boeing's former employees criticized the company's decision to alter and reform the decades-old design. According to them, the current 737 MAX is the cocktail version of all previous models, and they should have never created it in the first place. Whatever you decide to call it, the 737 MAX has dominated the skies for years, but currently has the highest notoriety among its peers due to disastrous flight experiences. For the past few years, the 737 MAX has been continuously in the limelight, for all the wrong reasons. The previous 2 hull losses due to system errors and the blowing out of door plugs due to quality control issues raised numerous concerns and speculations among the aviation investigation authorities. So, the 737 is still around, but how will it compete in the future? Its story has yet to conclude, but has raised several eyebrows worldwide. Authorities are now conducting the long-term investigations into where the plane manufacturer made the fault. Whether Boeing will discontinue the current 737 version or revamp it altogether has yet to be seen. However, the company has pushed its production to a record of at least 57 per month by July 2025 and is trying to carry on its legacy of 737 aircraft until 2030. The end is uncertain, but the hopes for improvements are still there.